Throughout China's decades of explosive economic growth, people grew accustomed to measuring wealth through luxury apartments, supercars, and designer fashion, yet there existed another far more secretive, yet remarkably sensitive economic indicator: the mistress economy. From the infamous mistress villages of Shenzhen in the 1980s and 92s, to the lavish golden cages later built by coal tycoons, real estate moguls, and corrupt officials, maintaining a mistress long-term was essentially the ultimate form of luxury consumption. Today, however, the rules of this decades-old game are completely unraveling. According to Chinese online sources, maintaining a mistress which used to cost around 14,000 a month 3 years ago can barely command 4,200 today, with few takers remaining. Shanghai court data shows that wealthy men suing to recover gifts given to mistresses now win 70% of the time, while vacancy rates in Beijing's luxury apartments continue to climb. When even the wealthiest can no longer afford this lifestyle and the dark market luxury collapses, what deep economic shift is China truly undergoing? The collapse of the mistress economy stems first and foremost from the drying up of easy money. The primary financiers of this industry, real estate developers, construction tycoons, and mining moguls, are now overwhelmed by debts and unpaid bills. At the same time, ongoing anti-corruption campaigns have shattered the gray networks of money for power exchanges. As their capital chains snapped, the mistress economy faced a harsh downgrading of consumption. Resale purchases of second-hand Hermes bags plummeted by 80%, while custom Cartier jewelry orders ground to a near halt. Yet, while wallets shrank, human desires did not simply vanish. This high-end gray consumption didn't die out completely. Instead, it evolved into cheaper, mass-market alternatives. If the old mistress economy was an exclusive luxury reserved for the hyper-wealthy, today's live streaming culture fueled by the internet represents the budget application of emotional and sexual consumption. Where a coal tycoon once spent 14,000 a month to monopolize one woman, today 10,000 average workers might each spend just 4.0 in a live stream to buy a moment of virtual intimacy. The barrier to entry has plummeted, shifting the dynamic from exclusive ownership to shared illusion. Hand in hand with consumer downgrading comes fierce competition on the supply side. As a popular saying on Chinese social media puts it, "I wanted to take a shortcut in life, only to find the shortcut was jammed with people." Amid growing employment pressure, traditional corporate jobs demand extreme educational credentials, food delivery demands grueling hours, and live streaming demands striking looks. Even gray zone industries are now fighting intense price and age wars. Former nightlife workers who once sought fortunes in high-end clubs are now forced onto live streaming platforms or even pushing into manual labor. Online, videos have emerged showing women in short skirts and black stockings applying wall putty on construction sites, or cooking in tight tank tops. The camera is no longer selling craftsmanship, but using provocative aesthetics to hijack algorithm traffic for monetization. Even more telling is the shifting demographic of street-level solicitation. Where taking shortcuts was once dominated by young women, street-level solicitation in some Chinese cities now spans ages from 20 to 50. This is no longer merely a choice of seeking luxury. For many middle-aged women facing joblessness, debt, and the burden of supporting children and elderly parents, it represents a desperate last resort after being shut out of the formal job market. This survival struggle driven by economic contraction is not unprecedented in modern Chinese history. During the state-owned enterprise reforms of the late 1990s, massive layoff waves hit industrial heartlands like northeastern China. A 2002 field study by Renmin University of China revealed that among 103 interviewed female sex workers, over 51% were laid off or completely unemployed urban workers, with over 70% of those laid off women originating from state-owned enterprises. They did not walk straight out of factories into the sex trade. Most tried housekeeping, street vending, or cleaning first. Only when those micro-incomes failed to cover rent, child-rearing, and medical bills for aging parents did economic desperation push them toward the margins. More than 2 decades later, China now counts over 200 million people in flexible employment. The era and technology have changed, but the underlying logic remains. When social safety nets are thin and honest labor fails to yield basic livelihood and dignity, individuals are gradually squeezed toward the moral and legal fringes of society. For decades, A common proverb has echoed through Chinese society: mock the poor, but never mock the prostitute. This saying reflects a deeply distorted value system born out of rapid, hyper-pragmatic economic development. When an honest, hard-working laborer is ridiculed simply for not owning a home or car, while those who amass sudden wealth through gray market dealings receive admiration. When power and money operate behind closed doors, this money-first utilitarianism quickly trickles down. From Shenzhen's old mistress villages to 4.0 virtual interactions in modern live streams. From flashy supercars to low-brow traffic battles, the forms and prices of sponsorship change, but the erosion of human dignity remains constant. When mocking poverty replaces respect for justice and honest labor, and when hard work no longer guarantees a living while shortcuts lead to dead ends, it signals not just the growing pains of an economic slowdown, but a profound warning for the entire societal value system.